Hello, everyone, and welcome to a very special lunchtime edition of Earth Rangers Facebook Live. So I am Earth Ranger Chris coming at you live from the Earth Rangers headquarters. And as you can see, I am joined by the adorable Sonic, the European barn owl today. Now, I did mention that today is a special Facebook Live, and that's because today is all about owls. So because the show is generously sponsored by Honda, one of our amazing sponsors here at Earth Rangers, we have the opportunity to learn all about European barn owls today, as well as later on in the presentation, I'm going to be teaching you how to make your very own pine cone snowy owls. We'll get to that a little later on in the presentation. First, a quick background about Earth Rangers if you've never heard of us before. So Earth Rangers is the kids conservation organization. We're the largest of its kind in the entire world. We have over 200,000 members across Canada who are kids passionate about protecting animals and the environment. Now, as Earth Rangers, we do all sorts of things to protect the planet. We help in the fight against habitat loss, protecting animal habitats by symbolically adopting animals through our wildlife adoptions programs. There are so many animals to choose from. I invite you to head on over to the Earth Rangers app to check out them all. Some of my personal favorites include the wolverine, the Arctic fox, the thick-billed murre, the eastern milk snake, the Patagonian sea lion, just to name a couple of my favorites. Kids also get involved by completing missions. So missions are eco-fun activities that help kids make the world around them a greener place while completing fun activities. So some of these missions include organizing your very own shoreline cleanup, planting a pollinator garden in your backyard, reducing the amount of single-use plastics your family is using in everyday lives by building car kits for your family, even just switching to energy-efficient bulbs. And it's never been easier to keep track of all of your incredible Earth Rangers work thanks to our brand new Earth Rangers app, which we launched earlier last year. So you can check that out after today's Facebook Live is done. Now, if you're just joining us for the first time, hello, everyone. I am Earth Ranger Chris coming at you live from the Earth Ranger Center. As you can see here today, I am joined by one of our amazing animal ambassadors, Sonic, the European barn owl. Now, in a regular year, we travel all across Canada, meeting and teaching students about animals, the environment, and what they can do to help. And we do this with the help of our animal ambassadors. Really helps them to get inspired by all the incredible creatures that they have around us. So that's partially why he's here. But the other reason why Sonic is here is because he is the host for our Big Owl Day here at Earth Rangers. Later on, I'm going to be showing you all how to make your very own pine cone snowy owls. Now, this is, of course, an interactive presentation. It is live. I'm coming at you live right now. So if you do have any questions throughout today's presentation, you can go ahead and type that into the comment box. I'll get to as many of them as I can throughout today's presentation. You can also just give me a thumbs up if you think I'm doing a good job. Give Sonic a little heart or a hug if you think he's doing great as well. And we'll do that throughout today's presentation. All right, so enough of my jibber jabber. Let's address the elephant in the room, or the barn owl in this case. Let's learn about European barn owls. So they are one of the most widespread animals that we have here on our planet. They can be found living on every single continent except for Antarctica. There are 35 different subspecies of barn owls. So like I mentioned, this is a European barn owl. We do have North American barn owls. They're about 50% larger than Sonic here, than European barn owls, and they're a little bit darker as well. And this just has to do with the type of food they eat and has to do with the camouflage in their natural habitat as well. Now, if you're walking, they are one of the most common animals that we have on our planet, but you probably wouldn't see one if you were walking around the forest during the daytime. Does anybody know why that is? Why wouldn't you see an owl during the daytime? So if you know the answer to my question, you can go ahead and type that into the comment box. We'll see if we have any owl experts in our audience today. Now, typically, you'd have to try really, really hard to find an owl in the wild, even if you were going out during the right time of day. That's a hint, because they're actually very quiet animals, and they tend to avoid people at all costs. Now, you'll notice here that Sonic has beautiful grayish, white, brownish coloration along his feathers, and it kind of looks like the bark of a birch tree. All owls have feathers like this that help them to camouflage. So during the daytime, pretend I'm a birch tree. Sonic would fly up, go right against it like this, and stay nice and still. And he would stay like this all day long. Now, the reason why a barn owl would do this is not only to avoid people, but it would be to avoid predators as well. Believe it or not, this predator is eaten by a lot of different types of birds, eagles, hawks, even other types of owls. So it's really crucial for them to stay nice and still during the daytime. All right, so let's see if we have any answers to why you wouldn't see them during the day. So Amy has said that they are nocturnal. Absolutely. They do all of their hunting during the night. And that means they sleep during the day, where, like I mentioned, they stay camouflaged and nice and quiet to hide from predators. Now, it might surprise you to learn that these animals are actually pretty impressive hunters. Sonic here is probably one of the cutest animals that I have ever met, but believe it or not, they are very accomplished predators. They have a number of adaptations to help them to catch their food. So before I get into that, let's quickly answer some questions. So Diane asked, can a barn owl turn its head all the way around? So that is a common misconception that owls can just keep doing loop-de-loops with their head. It's not actually true. They can turn their heads about 270 degrees, and that's because they have extra vertebrae in their neck. So we have exactly 7 vertebrae in our neck, but a barn owl has 14, so double. Imagine it like a bendy straw. They're able to rotate their heads quite a bit more, just not all the way around, not a full 360 degrees. But because of their their line of vision, when they rotate their heads all the way backwards, they are able to see what's going on behind them. So they can see 360 degrees around it, but they can't actually rotate their heads the full way. All right, what was I talking about? That's right, I was talking about how they like to get their food. So they are amazing hunters. They have a number of adaptations. One of the things that they have is silent flight. I'll get into that a little bit later on in the presentation. But they also have absolutely amazing hearing. So being a nocturnal animal, they do have decently good nighttime vision. But what really sets them apart and what really helps them to catch their food is their hearing. Now I'll move Sonic closer to the camera so we can see that handsome and very adorable little face. You see that Sonic here has a round face. Think about all owls. They all have that kind of dish-like face that is circular, almost looks like a satellite disc. And you know what? It serves the same purpose of a satellite disc as well. It catches sound waves as they travel through the air and funnels them directly towards his ears. That allows him to catch as many noises as possible as they travel through the air. Now, what's more is that Sonic, you can't see them, but his ears are asymmetrical. So asymmetrical means they're at different levels. So if I had asymmetrical ears, I have one all the way up here and one all the way down there. And that might look kind of silly, especially if I was trying to wear a hat. But for barn owls, it's great because it helps them to pinpoint the exact location from where noise is coming from. Yeah, so that is how that works as well. That allows them to catch their favorite type of food. And their hearing is so sensitive, they can even hear the sound of a mouse chewing on a blade of grass. How incredible is that? Now, you probably already know, but barn owls don't have teeth, right? They actually have to swallow their food in big chunks. So if they catch onto a tasty treat, maybe something like a mouse, they are able to, they'll catch up onto the mouse, they'll catch onto a mouse and rip it into smaller chunks and then swallow those chunks whole without chewing it. Now, their digestive tract, or their gizzard, actually breaks down the organs, the fat, the muscle, and the skin. And that passes through them. But the only thing that the enzymes don't break down is actually their fur, or the fur and the bones of the animals they eat. So every day they spit that out in what is called a pellet or a cast. Now, every day here at Earth Rangers, we collect Sonic's pellet or cast to make sure that he is eating properly. So I collected Sonic's today. And as you can see, I'll try and get a good view, get that into focus. Hopefully this didn't ruin your lunch. Sonic's like, what is that? But if you look closely, you can see all the different bits of bones and hair. So Sonic had a nice, tasty mouse earlier, and it's all there. If I were to break this down into pieces, I could probably put together a mouse skeleton if I wanted to. And this is really important for biologists as well, because sometimes like I mentioned, it's hard to see owls. But if you find those casts in the wild, you know that not only what type of owls are living in that area, but you know what they are eating as well. So let's answer some more questions. Sadie wants to know, how long do they live for? Well, this is actually kind of a sad fact, but barn owls don't actually live for that long, particularly European barn owls. In the wild, they will only live for 3 years or so. They're not very fast, so it's really easy for them to become somebody else's food. The European barn owl the Eurasian eagle owl is one of their main predators. So they typically only live about 3 years in the wild. But Bailey's asking, how old is Sonic? Sonic is well over 10 years old. And that's because he doesn't have to worry about any Eurasian eagle owls eating him here at Earth Rangers. All right, so now these animals are considered least concern. Like I said, they are highly adaptable animals, and they've actually adapted to living in urban areas as well. Part of the reason why they are given the name barn owls is because they used to live in old wooden barns. It'd be a safe place for them to lay their eggs and raise their young. But as farming practices change and as towns get bigger and bigger and there's more traffic in the air, it's harder and harder for these barn owls to survive. So they are currently listed as a species of least concern because they are so successful, but they are facing habitat loss threats in the wild as well. So it's our job to make sure they are protected, and hopefully we have barn owls on our planet for many years to come. Weight for weight, they actually eat, barn owls are responsible for eating more rodents than any other animal on our planet. And this is super important because rodents can carry disease, and they are also pests for farms. So they're really handy to have around as well. All right, so I do have another question for you all. How much do you think Sonic here weighs? How much do you think he weighs? So you can go ahead and put that into the comment box. While we do that, I'll answer some question. So Sarah's asking, can we find the barn owls here in Ontario? Absolutely, we find them in parts of Canada. There's a huge population in British Columbia as well as here in Ontario as well. But like I said, barn owls can be found living pretty much everywhere on the planet except for in Antarctica. All right, so any guesses? How much do you think he weighs? 30 pounds. Guess Emily, 4 pounds. Guess Kyla, 10 pounds. Guesses Diane. So those are all great guesses, but you're all a little bit too high. I think you all think that Sonic looks heavier than he actually is, but he weighs less than 1 pound, believe it or not. He only weighs about 300 grams. That's less than the weight of a can of Campbell's tomato soup. So just small, tiny little animals. All right, so I think at this point we're about ready to put together our craft today. So I'm going to put Sonic away, and then we will switch over and start the craft portion of today's presentation. All right, so we have an awesome craft plan for you today. We are going to be making pine cone snowy owls. So I did make one before today's presentation started. I'll bring it up to the camera so you can see how cute it is. Aw, her name is Justine, and I think she's lovely. How cute is she? So let's put her back over here. And it's all materials that you probably have around your house. So we have some cotton balls, we have some construction paper, glue, scissors, and googly eyes. Now, I happen to have some googly eyes just laying around the house. If you are normal and you don't have stuff like that around your house, then you can use other things as well. You can use white construction paper to make little eyes. You can use, as you saw, Sonic has dark eyes, so you can use something dark. You can use raisins if you want. It's really up to you, however you want. Okay, so let's get this started. So you start off with a pine cone. So you can go outside, look for a suitable pine cone. And then what you want to do is you want to take your cotton balls and you want to start ripping them into strands. So make it really, really fluffy. Now we are going to have some very fluffy owls today, but of course owls aren't really fluffy in the wild. Their feathers aren't soft like that, especially their outer feathers. So feathers actually have a number of different uses, as you probably already know. Birds share a common ancestor with dinosaurs. So it's actually said that dinosaurs had feathers at one point as well. So at this point, you just want to start weaving in the bits of cotton between the pine cone. Do that until the whole thing is covered. And I'm just going to talk more about feathers because I think feathers are super cool. So yeah, so feathers evolved from dinosaur scales, and they evolved to have multiple purposes over time. So the main thing that they do, and I think probably the most important thing for birds, is that they provide insulation from the cold. So birds are warm-blooded animals, or endothermic, just like mammals are, just like humans are. So this helps to keep them warm all year round. This is especially important for birds right here in Canada that haven't decided to migrate. Think about those adorable little black-capped chickadees that you see during your hikes. They really need that warmth throughout the year. The feathers on the outer side also offer waterproof as well for those that like to spend time in the water. And this is super important. Think about loons and mallards. Every time they're in the water, their skin is actually completely dry. And this is important, once again, because they are endotherms. They're warm-blooded animals, and they really depend on those feathers to keep them warm. Finally, and probably most famously, feathers help them to fly as well, provides them with flight. Yeah, actually, Sonic, his feathers weigh more than his skeleton does. So as you already know, barn owls are quite light as it is, as we just talked about. He only weighs 300 grams, but more of that weight actually comes from the feathers, believe it or not. Now, for owls, feathers actually serve one more very important function. So they have what's called silent flight. So when they fly through the air, they're not making any noise at all with their wings. Think about when you are jump roping. You hear that whooshing sound as the jump rope goes around. That is air particles being moved. But I actually have an owl feather with me. It belongs to Gizmo, our Eurasian eagle owl. But if you look carefully, you can see that the edges are serrated, almost like the edges of a comb. And what that does is actually break up air currents as the bird flaps his wings. So instead of getting that whooshing sound, it breaks up the air so that there is no noise at all. Pretty cool, right? Okay, so I have my fluffy little owl here all ready to go. Let's add some eyes. So you want to add 2 bits of glue, and then you want to add on your little eyeballs. Now, I'm going to put a big one and a small one because he's giving that stink eye, and I think that's hilarious. How is she, though? She's cute. Okay, so then let's put her down over here next to Justine. Okay. Oh, dear. Okay, there you go. Okay, so let's cut off a little beak over here. Now you can use orange, you can use yellow, but some birds have kind of darkish grayish blackish beaks as well. So that works as well. So I'll come around, add the final touches. Boom, there you go, just like that. Look how quickly I made that. So let's name this one, let's name her Christine because she's cute. That. Okay, all right, so there we go, my 2 little owl friends. So the only thing left to do is to introduce Sonic to my little friends and see what he thinks about them. So I will join you again in just a moment. We're going to go to blank screen to grab our friend Sonic. All right, so let's zoom in and see what Sonic feels about Christine and Justine. Not too sure, eh, buddy? Suddenly not so small. Suddenly he's the biggest owl in this room. So there you go. It was super easy to do. Like I said, these are all objects that you would find around your house. As you saw, I quickly made that. That was like what, like 5-7 minutes. And look how adorable that is. And now you have a little owl friend to have for the rest of your life. Now, because it is lunchtime, let's see if I do have some snacks for Sonic here. Oh no, Christine. So I do have some mouse here today. And as you just learned, he will spit up the bones later on. Now you're all owl experts. Here, you rest on Justine. You take it easy. All right, so that about does it for today's presentation. Let's see if I can answer some more questions in the remaining time that we have. So here, let me just quickly look at the comments section. All right, so in the meantime, let me just say one more big thank you to our friends, our sponsors over at Honda for sponsoring today's show and making it all possible. I had a super fun time making pinecone owls today, pinecone snowy owls today, sorry. and I have 2 new friends, so I'm super happy about that. Now, if you are interested in more activities just like that, we are providing a link in our description box, so you can go ahead and check that out after today's live. It will provide you with an email so that we can constantly send you new activities. Right now is a great time to be doing indoor activities, especially this time of year when it's a little bit too cold to go outside and spend too much time inside. Nothing's more fun than coming in and making some crafts. Now, if you want to check out another video just like this, Kyla and Nacho made a bird feeder last week out of, I think, an apple core. It looked super, super cool. And that is, again, things that you would find around your house as well. And with spring only 3-4 months away, you better get started on making those bird feeders now. So how old is Sonic? That's a great question. He is, I think, 11 or 12 years old. He's an old man at this point. Yeah, one more thing, because you all participated in today's live, if you have the Earth Rangers app, which, like I said, is a great way to keep track of all of your Earth Rangers achievements. If you don't already have an account, you can go ahead and download it, start your account. And we'll provide you with a code today as well for taking part in today's live. So once again, thank you so much for joining us today. I hope you had an awesome time. And there it is. Use code 4BIRDS21. All right. Thank you so much. We will see you next time, and have a great day. Bye, everyone.